Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about how to move on without a closure. And as you all know, there's so many topics about closure out there, and it is when you want to move on from a relationship or a situationship, but you just want to know the other side of the story. You want to know why people behaved how they behaved. Why did they leave? On the talking stage, I thought we were chatting and texting very well, and then suddenly this guy just disappeared out of nowhere. It can be a talking stage, and you might ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Did I say something wrong, or did I give out bad energy, or like an energy that maybe they drew, it made the guy draw away or something. So God just put this, a very good, a very God put this desire in my heart to talk to everyone on how to move on without closure. And of course, I have experience. I have my share of experience when I wanted a closure. A long-term relationship. I know, and I wanted closure. I wanted to know exactly why. It is about why, isn't it? Why? Why did you do what you did? And sometimes it can be, it can be a month of dating. It can be 6 months. It can be 1 year. It can be 10 years. It can be 20 years. It can even be 50 years. And I know that because I do have, some close people of mine who they are experiencing that right now, who they have been in a relationship for 30 years. But it is about the closure that they're looking for, the closure that eats you up, the why that really, really make people, become even stressful because of that. So I just want to jump right in. And just a while back, I was just talking to God, and I was praying. I did say a little prayer. What is the verse in the Bible that narrates the negative, not the negative, but that narrates the outcome of seeking closure? And scripture just came into my head, and it's from Genesis 19 verse 26. Before I get into that, I am aware that ending a relationship, is not a small thing. It's very hurtful, and there's so many questions that come with it. Regrets, But there is one question that I think anyone who is coming out of a relationship, or anyone who is in the in between of getting out of a relationship, the one leg in and one leg out. There's one question that you need to ask yourself. Is it better to cry now and hurt now, or leave it in 15 years or wasting more years and then cry later on. There's this saying, counting your losses. Sometimes you just have to cut the root and, just take the losses with you, no matter how great the losses are, no matter how many the losses are, but just cut your loss and move on. In this meaning, for example, for me, it is better than that I break this relationship now and cry, eat ice cream if I want to, take baths and cry, and take showers and cry, and ask myself why did this guy actually leave, than entertain a relationship or entertain the closure where you guys are still talking still. And then in 15 years, in 20 years, in 30 years to come, I regret, I wish I could have ended this before. And it doesn't matter if you are 60 or 70 years old. It is about the time. As long as you live, you have a purpose in this life. So it doesn't matter saying, oh, I am this old and I've wasted all this time in this relationship. Now I want closure. No. God has put you here for a purpose. And it is by God's grace that you are now out of that relationship. It doesn't matter if you are 90 years old. You still have a purpose in this life. So it's not about regretting. This is not the time of starting to regret about the time that you have wasted. But for those people, who you have still plenty of time, you have to ask yourself. You have to sit yourself down and ask yourself, in 20 years to come, in 30 years to come, put yourself in that situation. You're already 30 years with this relationship, with this toxic relationship. You are there. Are you going to regret the time? Or are you going to regret maybe that time that we were breaking? I could have done that. I could have just broken up. I could have just broke that relationship and move on. And I know someone who is dearly in my heart that is going through a very, very complicated relationship right now, a complicated breakup right now. And she thinks that she has lost time. But in the Bible, I forgot the scripture. I will link it down below. But in the scripture, it says, God will multiply the time that you have lost if you seek His purpose. If you seek what He has in store for you, He will replace that time. He will restore that time for you. So that's the one thing that you just have to ask yourself. Am I okay with letting this carry on and then regret in so many years to come? And as I said, even though you are 90, 80 years old, you are 100, I don't care. As long as you live, as long as you are in this earth, God has the future for you. That means your assignment is not over. This is coming from a place of love. I just want to let you know. It is coming from a place of love because, as you know, my channel is to empower women not to continue with this toxic relationship again and again and again. And I know you can do it. The fact that you are actually considering, you're actually aware that this guy is not right for you, you are on the right path. Because you can see the toxic, the toxic behaviors. So you are on the right path, but don't let seeking for closure, seeking for a guy to say something, for him to say even one thing, for him to just say something. Do not let that stage of seeking for closure ruin the plan that God has for you. And I know there is differences, when it comes to closure. There is a painful closure that you want, you just want him to say I love you, or you want him to want you back. And there is a hateful closure where you just want to pay him back and seek for revenge. But they are all closures. So I'm begging you, ask God to give you strength. And I pray that God will give you strength to break this relationship, to break this toxic relationship and move on. So the scripture that I said earlier, Genesis 19:26. So this was the period where it was a period of Sodom and Gomorrah, for those who don't know. And this was the time that Lot, his wife, and his daughters were told by God to go out of the city because God was about to destroy the city. And he did warn them that you should not look back. So in this verse, it talks about Lot's wife. He looked back. When God was destroying the city, Lot's wife looked back. And it says, but Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. They were warned that to not look back, but she looked back. And I'm just wondering if you are looking back, if you are revisiting or reflecting in the good times that you guys had, or maybe he's not that bad. A pillar of salt, to me, it means not being unproductivity and no future and feeling stuck. So the longer you seek for closure, the longer you keep looking back, the longer it takes you to move on. And I know that you are far better than him, and you are far better than this relationship. So please, just end it. End the relationship. End the toxic relationship. And they don't need to tell you you're beautiful, because you're already beautiful. You are beautiful. You're a child of God. You were made by God's image. In Luke 15, it says you are God's handwork. Yeah, that is all what I had for you. I had this strong desire of sharing this with you, and I hope that you take this as from a place that, I come from a place of love, and just reflect back on your life and Ask God to give you the strength, because sometimes I know how difficult it can be. So stay blessed, and I love you guys. Bye. Have a good night.